Hi, I'm Jared Pottinger, Education Services Manager for Deskcase, and today we're going to talk about best practice oil sampling. Now, oil sampling is in some sense the foundation of good oil analysis. It all starts with good sampling. If we don't have good oil sampling, it doesn't matter how good our testing is, how good our data management is, because we can't really rely on the data. So our objective when we take a good oil sample is really to get a sample of the oil that's lubricating the machine. So the oil that's actually between the gears, the oil that goes through the bearings or through the hydraulic pump. We want to see a sample of that oil and nothing else. We don't want information about the tube that we're pulling the sample through, or the machine that we just sampled, or the outside of the reservoir or the sump. We want to get a picture of the oil out of the machine, and we want to keep all other information out of that sample. So in order to accomplish this, we have to select several things correctly. We need to pick a good location in the machine, first of all. And the location from which we take the sample is going to be different for different types of machines. For bath lubricated sumps like gearboxes or pumps or others, we want to try to sample off the bottom of or above the bottom of the sump. So at least 2 inches off the bottom, at least 2 inches away from the sides of the case, and of course at least 2 inches away from any moving components. Now, one of the other things that we have to select here is how we actually get that sample. So how are we going to get a sample from that location? Well, there's basically different ways we could pull the sample out. We could open a drain port and let the oil flow out. That's usually very ineffective. It's very inconsistent and it gives us unreliable data. We could drop a tube into the sump and use a vampire pump, but in that case we don't have a lot of control over the point from which the sample comes. The right way to do this is to install a fixed sampling valve or fixed hardware that allows us to pull the sample from that location we specified in a consistent way every time. Now, if we have a circulating system, we want to sample in a location that's going to give us good, consistent, and dense information. So if we can, we want to sample from a primary return line coming out of that circulating system. That's going to give us information about all the lubricated components, and it's going to be a consistent location. If we're talking about a hydraulic system, we may want to sample various locations, but there is more than one potential location. We could sample from the return line. We could sample after the pump and before the filter. We could sample from the reservoir. Where we sample in that case really depends on what our objectives are. Finally, once we've chosen the location and we've chosen the sample extraction method, we need to document that procedure and train all the technicians that would take samples on that procedure, because consistency in this task is extremely important. So remember, sample location, sampling method, high quality sampling procedure. These are the keys to good oil sampling, and that's the first step towards good oil analysis. I'm Jared Pottinger for Deskcase. This has been Oil Sampling Best Practices.